Hey guys, it's me, Matt Kuhn, with Total Engagement, which is a short, daily wrestling podcast available on all your podcast platforms, whether we're talking about news of the day, hot takes, instant reaction, retro clips, or even crime and wrestling. It's got a little something for every wrestling fan. It's Total Engagement, daily, powered by Wrestlezone.
There we go. What's up, everybody? It's Kevin Kellam coming to you from the NBC Tower in downtown Chicago for a live post-show of Smackdown and their big debut on Fox. The Rock and the Man cooked something up. We got a new WWE champion, and that's gotta be Cain Velasquez. We'll get into all of it right now. Yes, it's your SmackDown post show, and we have breaking news. WWE may have taken a hit on Wednesday with the big debut of AEW, but this debut on Fox of SmackDown, a multi-year deal worth over $1 billion, has scored big. This is a big victory for WWE in all intents and purposes. You can't really spin it any other good way. Fox Sports sending out this press release earlier today. This show on Fox last night on network TV was the most watched WWE TV show in 2 years. It was an 85% increase in average viewers over the last 5 weeks. It peaked at 4.2 million and settled in at about 3.9 million. All right. And that is just on streaming platforms. Mind you, we also have to include, and you can see right down here in the left-hand corner of this graphic I have up on the screen for you, this doesn't include Dish viewers or Sling TV viewers, since Sling TV is owned by Dish. So this is a really, really strong rating for WWE. They had a lot of big things on this show. They ended with a big moment and a big title change. We'll get into all that stuff. But just talking business, this was a legit exciting show. It felt like a pay-per-view. It didn't feel like another TV show. And a lot of fans reacted pretty positively to most of it. And I'll talk to you about the things that fans weren't exactly happy about. But, I mean, you look at that number, 3.9, nearly 4 million people is your viewing on Fox, on streaming platforms, in Spanish as well, which is a really strong inclusion of where we're going to see this thing go internationally with Fox and non-English markets. So that's a very, very strong rating. And peaking with 4.2 is really, really good. I mean, you can't deny that. This is Fox predicts the broadcast network will be primetime coveted in the 18 to 49 demo. So that's key as well. Now, we don't know how well it did in demos, but if these are just the initial numbers, mind you, this is just an initial number. This isn't a complete one. This is really, really good. Let's see what fans are thinking about SmackDown here. SmackDown rating was up from last night, but the next SmackDown will sucks. Watch my words. Well, Maria, right now it hit big. You want to take them down. You're going to have to reach for that here because this was something special. Jason Gertie didn't like. He said SmackDown was rubbish. It was rubbish. Jason Gertie says, where was Stone Cold as promised? Stone Cold was on the show. I've heard a couple people say this, that Stone Cold wasn't on there. He was on the show. They had him in the graphic opening right before the show went live. He kind of ran down all the stories, and it's kind of a pre-tape. But there's a lot of things they're going to do with these type of like cameos that are pre-tapes. I had a couple people say there's no Stone Cold Steve Austin. Nick Baston saying as well. He was. You tuned in too late for it, guys. They did a blue carpet pre-show, which showed another sign that Fox was really behind this thing, giving them even a half an hour more of TV time. And it delivered here. It was something special. They had a good rating. They were number 4 in the networks, but they don't want to be number 1 with this thing. This is designed to be subvert whatever else is going on TV. That's what wrestling is kind of doing now. So this is a big win for them in terms of looking at WWE right now. Yes, thank you for the shout out. You guys are watching the show live for the first time. You get your comments on screen. I read them. We're live and interactive. The most interactive pro wrestling talk show online. We're going to be doing Monday through Friday, Wrestlezone Daily at 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern, right around there. And we also have these available as podcasts as well. So you can download that. Go search Wrestlezone Radio on iTunes, all your podcasting apps. But SmackDown, big ratings win for them. There's no bad spin to this. I know a lot of people were shocked with what AEW did, and they're still getting a lot of great press for that. Well-deserved on their end for eking past WWE in an impressive way in their first head-to-head battle. But what do you think? Smash the like button here if you're watching live. You don't want to throw your comments on there. What did you think of SmackDown? A lot of big news coming out of the show. Obviously, the biggest was Cain Velasquez joining WWE. This is the number one story, the number one trend coming out of the show. SmackDown itself was trending high on social media all night. It was the number one trend worldwide for over an hour. That is very hard to maintain. And Cain Velasquez was a part of that number 2 or 3 on Twitter that I saw. And he coming over from the UFC, still under contract with the UFC. Very interesting. Now, from what we know from our sources, Cain has not signed a permanent deal with WWE. So the idea is that if they cut this angle, we're going to get a deal. Now, things like this have been done before. Over in UFC, you had Brock Lesnar getting in the ring and confronting Daniel Cormier. And we thought that was going to be a match. It never happened. And obviously, WWE signed Brock Lesnar. Excuse me, stuffy nose. So we're getting Cain versus Brock. Brock is the new WWE champion here. He defeated Kofi Kingston in a match that really upset a lot of different fans here. It was something to end the show. It was not a title match. It goes on about 8:50. I remember looking up at the clock that I'm in here in this room. Looking at it, it's 8:50. I was like, oh, they got 10 minutes to do this. And if they're going to cut a big angle at the end of the show, this match is going to be pretty short. And I looked up at the clock and it's 8:51 when the match was already over. So the match was a stunning defeat for Kofi Kingston. This ends a dream-like run for him. He had the match of the year, I think, for WWE at WrestleMania. I was there. It was something special here. A lot of people were very, very upset about that. Donald Cleveland saying Kofi wasn't protected at all. He was disposed of disrespectfully and forgotten, treated like he's leaving. So is he Raw bound? And then he goes on to say he's such a pro. He deserved better. A lot of people saying that. A lot of people saying that Kofi Kingston deserves better than this, and that he was robbed and he was jobbed out. He certainly didn't get a competitive match. I could say that much. But I think Kofi Kingston is going to be fine. I think Kofi Kingston is going to be fine. So the initial reaction of this guy saying he was disposed of, this is disrespectful. The tone of it was odd when he came out that he's had a great run, 11 years to get here. There was kind of like it was dismissive of Michael Cole. But I think, though it was upsetting to see him lose, the angle right after supplanted all that. The idea was to get you really upset at Brock Lesnar for taking this title off this beloved figure. You cared. So if you're angry about it, it worked. If you're angry about it, it worked. Sean Smith saying the dream is over. Bor Nostla saying that he's AEW bound. No, he is not. You do not expect that. I don't think he's going anywhere there. Yeah, he did the job. Well, he definitely didn't. He wasn't competitive. You can say that. He got laughed out right away. But this Cain Velasquez angle right after was a huge deal for WWE. This guy's a huge sports star. Fox wants a sports-centered show. That's the word we've gotten. And look what was featured here. Lesnar, legit UFC guy. All right? Cain Velasquez, legit UFC guy. And a lot of storyline back there. For those of you not familiar, Cain Velasquez beat Brock Lesnar in the UFC, took the title off him, and did it in one round. All right, in an impressive way. If you're a UFC fan, maybe you're turning into WWE. And if you're a WWE fan, you don't know that. What a great story to tell. Now, can he put on a great match? We don't know. This guy only has a very limited amount of wrestling experience. And it was impressive to see him take down Brock and Brock cover up, So a lot of people were looking at this like, wow, that was something else here. Nishad Joa saying Cain versus Bane in the main event. Yeah. I was yelling, that's gotta be Cain Velasquez, the old throwback to the Hell in a Cell match where Cain debuted. Josh Goddard saying, I love the story that was told with Brock's reaction to Cain. Yeah, Brock was shocked. When Brock saw him come out, Brock was like, oh boy, I'm in trouble. And of course, Cain Velasquez led to the ring by the man that Brock decimated and attacked and brutalized his son, Rey Mysterio. And Rey had the arm up in his sling. So I don't know if we're going to see Rey in the ring anytime soon. But Certainly, if you have Rey Mysterio as Cain Velasquez kind of manager, secondary character, maybe they get a tag team match out of this before they build up to a one-on-one match. Who knows? It'll be something special. But no matter how you spin it, yeah, it's a bummer if you're a Kofi Kingston fan. But now this guy coming in is going to be set up now for a big, big run to go after Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is a convincing monster champion. He's a monster. You're not supposed to like him. You're supposed to hate him. And if you didn't like that finish, you were entertained because you cared. I want to keep hammering that in. If you were upset that Kofi Kingston got shocked with the defeat, maybe you can get behind Kofi now. Maybe you get to see Kofi Mania 2. Who knows? It reshuffles the deck, and you have to do that from time to time. I thought Kofi's title matches were waning. I thought the SummerSlam match with Randy Orton was good, but it needs to be great. And a lot of people, I remember our own Lavelle Porter over on Twitter. He's the guy who covers all of our instant results at WrestleZone.com. Very upset that Kofi Kingston lost the title, saying that he wasn't treated the same way that Seth Rollins was. And, but there's a different story you're telling with Seth Rollins. By the way, Seth Rollins in Hell in a Cell this Sunday, tomorrow night. There's only 3 matches advertised for that, which is an odd case. We'll have some extra matches added there. Nick Basson saying, Brock, best box office draw in the business today. We'll see about that, but the ratings don't deny it here. Nishad was saying, I thought Cain Velasquez signed with AAA. Well, I agree with you that it seems like that, but it seems like he only did it for a couple of appearances. Cain has been very open about saying that he has been in talks with WWE about doing this. There's been no apprehension about that. Now, the fact that we thought it would happen like this, and he's still in talks with them, and we don't have a confirmed deal, it's still ongoing. But I would say right now, you're only going to see him in WWE moving forward. That's kind of the way it looks right now. So a lot of people having their take about it here. I'm a fan of what's going on with SmackDown. I was upset instantly and then happy very instantly. Raquel Gutierrez saying the match was too short. It's a time factor. You look at the clock. You got 10 minutes. You got to cut an angle and you got to do a match. What are you going to cut first? You're going to cut the match. All right. You had to leave fans watching that show having a reason to watch the show the next week. You cannot think short term. Give me what I want now. I want this. I need this now. You got to be mature about it and think long-term story, because what's a better payoff? A long-term story. All right. You got great wrestling on the show. Are you telling me you didn't get an action-packed show prior to this? Because you did. Also on the show, I think the match of the night, much better than, if you just want to talk about matches, Kevin Owens crushing Shane McMahon. Crushing him. I thought this was a very clever match that led into a pay-per-view break, or excuse me, a commercial break, where they did Shane McMahon leaping off the top rope, putting Kevin Owens through a table, and then coming right out of the commercial break with Kevin Owens back. Oh, wow, he got the advantage. He came up from this brutal all-out war to see who's going to get fired from the show. Kevin Owens putting Shane through the ladder immediately when they came back from the commercial break. I thought that was very, very clever. I also enjoyed the finish. It was a fun way where he slammed him on another ladder, powerbombed him off a ladder onto a ladder. Very, very violent stuff. And it delivered like a big pay-per-view spectacle of violence. And then Kevin Owens said, "You're fired." Stunner. A lot of fans thought, "Oh, the Stone Cold's got to come out and do this." If you Stone Cold did it. Don't get angry because your fantasy booking isn't fulfilled. They didn't advertise Stone Cold's going to be involved in the match. So don't get angry about something. I got in an argument with somebody about that on Twitter. Oh, my fantasy booking wasn't fulfilled, so it was bad. Sean Luddy saying, SmackDown was great. Great storytelling. Really enjoyed it. Here we go. Joseph Amena Sr. saying Goldberg was probably like, hey, only I'm supposed to have quick dominating matches. Yeah, I've heard about that before as well. And what's Robert's take on this? I don't know, Robert. Robert will join me next week on the show. Don't worry, we'll have him back on WC Dailies. If our frequent viewers, don't worry, he's coming back. No worries. Don't be freaky about it. It'll be okay. Bailey and Charlotte match announced for Hell in a Cell. Yes, that has been confirmed. Expected. They had a tag team match last night with Charlotte and Becky taking on Bailey and Sasha. Charlotte getting the win via submission on the SmackDown Women's Champion. I thought that was a pretty good match. Not nearly as good as the one they had at Madison Square Garden a few weeks ago, but the fact that it was the historic first match of SmackDown on Fox means something. WWE still cares about their women, still puts them up prominently. I thought it was a good match. Other highlights on this show, you got to admit The Rock was a big way to open too. The Rock opening segment with Becky Lynch was something special. He was advertised, he was promoted, his social media platform is huge, and he delivered something here. This segment where I know a lot of people are like, it didn't set up a match, but you got to think, they really cooked something up here. Rock and the man cooking something up, trading lines back and forth. That crowd was red hot in terms of just, doing something here that makes it a match in a segment, if you will, where they beat him down. It was strong. King Corbin's the perfect guy to send out there, the perfect geek. And everyone's like, oh, they squashed him. The Rock shouldn't squash. The Rock shouldn't do that. Rock shouldn't put somebody else over on the way. Rock will put somebody over if they're going to build a match, Excuse me, my nose is very stuffy. But Rock should put somebody over if they're going to put a match. And if they aren't going to do a match, they're going to do this. And Rock's going to, celebrate the history of SmackDown. It's a rabble-rousing singular segment. This is the best way to do it. I thought it was strong. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I knew exactly what it was from the moment it started. Robert says, I'm literally here. Well, Robert, do you want to be on the show? Do you want to jump in? I'll send you the link here, pal. If you, here we go. Robert is doing the run-in. He's joining the show here in a minute. All right. What do you think of SmackDown last night, Robert? Well, Robert will tell you here in just a moment. We'll have him do the run-in from Robert DeFelice. A lot of people say, Herman Takar saying the SDD line was great. Robert DeFelice showing up at some point here. Where are you, Robert? Where are you? Scan that camera down, pal. Let me get you up here.
Oh, hi.
There you go. Pull it over, pal. There you go.
I haven't done this in a while. I don't know how to do this.
There you go. Now I got you in full shot. They got the new setup here, new house. That was the hold up for the week.
New hair. Seth Rollins is.
Wait. Where's the hair? You look like now. You look like Rusev.
Well, I don't know if I want to be Russo.
No.
Not right now. I don't know if I want to be Russo.
If you like Robert's new haircut, smash that like button.
You should smash the like button anyway, because WrestleZone's been working like a damn machine for the last 5 days.
Yeah.
And, credit to the whole team. I mean, this was a hell of a week, and I missed most of it, but I did see SmackDown, Kevin, and I was not a fan. And
whatever, Robert. It was a great show. I enjoyed it.
First of all, let's talk positive. Set looks gorgeous. I think the set was a really good-looking thing. I think Rock is fantastic. When isn't he? I think Baron Corbin's going to be referred to as STD for the rest of his life, which is interesting to say the least. I have tremendous issues with the Brock Lesnar Kofi Kingston thing, and not because Brock won. The whole thing became very dismissive of Kofi, and by virtue of that, I think very dismissive of modern WWE. They said, look over here, now we have this big thing. And that's cool. You're always telling bigger stories in WWE. I get it. But it just seemed like too much of a gloss over this great story that really carried the SmackDown brand for the majority of the year.
This is a brand new show. This is a reboot. So changing the champion makes complete sense. That's another thing that I just don't get. People are upset you're supposed to be so that you can get reinvested in your character. Then they have a new heel villainous champion that someone can chase up the mountain because we're going up a new mountain because we're on a new network. Why do people put their feelings in front of facts? All right? The facts are all there. The storyline makes complete sense. Guess what? You get to go behind Kofi on a new journey, on a new ride. You're gonna see him and his pals come back. Are you telling me they're just gonna ice this guy next week? No, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Get your head out of your ass because people know better. You put your feelings. I love Kofi. They bury Kofi. They bury my favorite guys. Everyone just gets up their own head because they're not booking what they think in their head. You know I say this all the time. And this is another example of this. There isn't a more over-heel guy that you can make the champion in WWE right now than Brock Lesnar. Was I mad? You're damn right I was. I'm supposed to be. I was watching the show as a fan. And then when I step back and I put my pundit hat on, I'm like, wow. Look at a bunch of new matches you can do now. You have Cain Velasquez, this huge sports star coming in. You're gonna create a bunch of new possibilities here. New show, new fans, new things. All right. But a lot of people say, oh, it's the same old stuff for Brock, blah, 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 blah. You can't deny his power. You cannot deny the draw of what he is. If they let me put it this way. No. Let me spin it because we're just gonna be hypothetical now. Because everyone can just be hypothetical and then subplant that on top of what the actual facts are, right? Because that's what we're doing.
Okay.
What if The Rock became the champion last night? Then no one would care, because it's one of their favorites. And you don't like Brock. You're not supposed to. You're supposed to hate him, right? So he gets the title, so it sucks. It's bad booking. It's this. It doesn't make sense. No. Stop talking like you know the science of the situation. This isn't a perfect science. This is storytelling week to week. You need to do it. This is a new season of the show. That's it. And it's not that complicated past that.
I agree with everything you just said. I think you might have missed what I was saying. I didn't say Brock winning was bad for business. I think what they did was fine. I just think doing it in the fashion that they did was dismissive to what Kofi had built. And yes, you can make the argument. And I think all week long, honestly, WWE was very focused on new fans. We're assuming that you've either never watched this or you're starting to watch it for the first time. But for a long-term fan, it just seems like, okay, Kofi, he had the run ends, and now he's going to probably go back as they shuffle the deck, wherever he may fall. I actually agree. We saw a comment earlier that said he might go to Raw. Maybe Kofi is Raw bound. Raw is certainly changing things with Bobby Lashley, and that was the one thing this week that I actually saw live, which was, but yeah, I think Brock Lesnar winning is fine. I think Kevin Owens winning and ending that Shane McMahon story, that's been kind of swept under the rug. I think that's a huge moment.
Yeah, and everyone slept on it. No one talked. No one. They did this with Kofi. Did Kofi bad? The guy won the title at WrestleMania in the best match of the year. He was the focus. No, he was the focus of the TV show for the past year, but they did him wrong. He got to be in the main event on their network TV debut of SmackDown, and he got the show there, but they buried him. Do you get buried if you're in the main event?
Normally, I'd say no, but I think
you didn't answer my question. Are you buried if you're in the main event?
No.
I'm not done. Are you dismissed if you're in the main event?
Normally, no, but if it's 8 seconds long and afterwards people are talking about Cain Velasquez, I think it might have been just a little bit.
The thing is, it's a little bit. It's not a whole lot.
No, right? He didn't get, Nexus at SummerSlam 2010. No, that didn't happen to. But
and also everyone's like talking like they know what's going to happen next week. You don't. You don't know what's going to happen next week.
I have no clue. Next week, Brock Lesnar could be on the show.
But Robert, isn't that the point?
That's absolutely the
point. You want to know what's going to happen. They got you on the string. But they didn't get me. They can't get me. I've been watching. I know what they're going to do. Don't get me. You can't catch me. I know what you're doing. Come on. Seriously, back off. Get off your freaking high horse. So many people think they know. I've been watching WWE. I've been watching my whole life. I like to be surprised. I was surprised.
I love surprises.
You got one. He beat him in 8 seconds. All right? They want a sports-focused show. You can lose a fight in 30 seconds. All right? And this is supposed to be a faux fight sport. And then Cain came out there in the big showiness of pro wrestling and took him down. And then Brock made him look cool. And then he's scared. Now we have a new situation.
Yeah, I thought that was very, 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 very gallant of Cain Velasquez to come to the aid of Nacho Libre that way.
Oh, stop it. You're just reaching. Now you're just trying to make me mad. That's all you're doing.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Pretty ridiculous here. Lots of hype, though, for SmackDown. And obviously, I mentioned the rating success. People saying I'm ranting and I'm overreacting. What are other people saying here? Chad Miller saying, great show, but you could have let Kofi have some offense. Kofi's my WWE champ. See, well, here's the thing then. If this brings Kofi Mania, if it piques all that support for Kofi again, that, they're suppressing Kofi. He got pinned. He got beat. It was clean. But if you do that with Kofi, isn't that great? Isn't that good momentum?
Well, okay, since we're spinning hypotheticals, hypothetically, if in 6 months Kofi Kingston is nowhere near the top of the card, do you still feel as strongly as you do now?
I feel it's a natural thing. I don't think people give WWE the breaks in that way. The depth they have. I saw somebody on so it's back to the mid card. The mid card right now is Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan.
That's true.
And Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. Is that a bad mid card to be in? Are you in bad company then if you're on SmackDown?
No, I don't think you.
Oh no, it's not. It's not. No. So once you lay out the facts, then people don't want to do that.
Now you threw out a very specific thing there. You said mid card on SmackDown. Come next Friday, they might not be the mid card on SmackDown. They might be the main event on Raw.
That's why you have to change the champions. That's why you have to do things like this. And we can even get into Hell in a Cell tomorrow. What may happen there? But I just think people overreacted. But you're supposed to overreact. The people care, so it worked.
I honestly missed it because I clicked away for 5 seconds and I turned away and Kofi was already pinned.
I mean, I think part of that is it's a clever thing. It's a clever thing to do that on television, to have a stunning thing here. Sean Letty supporting what I'm saying here. Russell Byron saying Rock became the champion last night. No, I was being hypothetical.
No, he was being facetious and hypothetical.
Don't you say facetious. Facetious. You're facetious, DeFelice.
Well, I thought
Robert Facetious over here. Robert Facetious. Robert Facetious.
I thought SmackDown came across very well, and I thought everything was good. Ross Berman, great Wrestlezone contributor, put this out on Twitter. He said, Kane and Brock is going to make this feel like WWE is trying to be UFC. I'm not sure if that was the move. And I kind of feel that a little bit as well. Kane and Brock is a great story. They have great history together because Kane knocked out Brock so quickly. But I did the research. That fight was 9 years ago. So even then, it's not really fresh history. If you were to bring out Holly Holm against Ronda Rousey, that might be a little bit of here's the woman that just got finished knocking her out not that long ago. But this was a while ago. And to his credit, Cain Velasquez is a hot commodity in pro wrestling. I just saw him do Hurricanranas a few months back at Triple Mania. But I don't know if this is the move. I think this will be a big match for whenever they do it. And I think Cain Velasquez will be a huge hit. But I don't know if in 5 years we're talking about that monumental moment when Cain Velasquez came on TV.
Yeah, huge moment. Huge pop, too. Do you see that crowd lose their mind?
Yeah. I think it's because most people thought that was Dominic for 5 seconds, and then they realized, that's not Dominic.
You know what? There was a second when he came out, and you saw Ray. You heard Ray's music first. And how about that new set? With that new set looking great, I love that new set.
That new set's amazing.
Yeah, the pyro and everything like that. And so when he came out, I was like, I just saw Ray first with his arm in a sling. I was like, oh, what's Ray gonna do here? But then when you saw Kane come out, they took a long pause. And they had that walkout. He had the knee brace on, so he wasn't walking great. But that takedown and the punches and everything, it looked legit. It was cool. It was on, boom, right away. They had some real magic between these two. And the tease of Brock getting back in the ring, we're going to do this again. There's a lot of mixed reports about this. Alex McCarthy of Talk Sport, who, very legitimate source over in the UK, is reporting there's a possibility that this match between Brock and Kane will not go down at WrestleMania or some huge premier quarterly WWE event like you would think, maybe a Survivor Series in Chicago. No, it's expected to go down at Crown Jewel in just a few weeks, possibly in Saudi Arabia.
That report, well, I do know McCarthy, and McCarthy is a great source. I think that comes directly from Dave Meltzer. And I made the joke in a group chat, oh, guys, I guess Saudi's paying the real money because they're about to get Kane versus Brock, and it looks like They might get Cain versus Brock. And, that's a hell of a card. The thing about the Saudi cards, even though we all have our weird vibes about them, they always bring you a hell of a card.
They always try to put on a big attraction.
They do put on a big attraction because, the Saudi Arabian crowd wants those big event vibes that they weren't able to get in years prior. And I think this might be as big as they come. What if Cain Velasquez wins the WWE title on Halloween in Saudi Arabia? Anything is possible. If 2019 has taught us anything, it is anything is possible.
Yeah. So a lot of people are freaking out here in the chat. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're with us for the first time, let me know. If you're with us for the first time, get your comments on screen with us and pass it on. Pass it on and share the link and do all that good stuff. A lot of good things going on in the world of wrestling. What a crazy week. We had Raw on Monday, huge show, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, big angle there. We had Wednesday night, that shocking upset of AEW getting the ratings the next day. NXT having a great show. AEW having a great show. SmackDown having a great show. I'm going to say wrestling is really fun right now. It's exhausting to follow all of it, but it's really, really fun.
Bit of a spoiler. You guys know I haven't been on the show all week. I have not seen Dynamite. I have not seen NXT, but I have seen Raw and SmackDown. Raw was interesting.
Yes.
I think that's a good word for it. And SmackDown I thought was great. I know what happened on Dynamite. I think Jake Hager, we broke that story here on the Wrestlezone Daily. I mean, he's been saying it for months.
Yeah, he was likely signed at the time when we interviewed him, but he didn't flat out say it. He got very close to say it.
I mean, AEW came to play, and I think they're going to continue to be a major player. And how about maybe the most positive shock of the week? Finn Balor's NXT.
Yeah, Finn Balor's moved over to NXT. Tommaso Ciampa is there as well. A lot of big moves here in WWE right now. And, everyone's, AEW got him. But then you see this SmackDown rating come in, and I'm like, guys, it levels, it more than levels out. I mean, you want to say who won the week? Promotion. WWE got it.
Well, yeah,
but AEW put their mark out there, and I think you're going to see going forward. I think they're going to maintain a rating lead now for a couple weeks, at least a couple weeks.
This idea that the machine has to die is something that I just don't agree with. I think if WWE thrives, NXT thrives. If all that thrives, AEW thrives, Ring of Honor thrives. It'll take some time, but I promise Ring of Honor can thrive. Impact Wrestling is going to be on Access TV. They're going to thrive. I mean, let's pull the curtain back a little bit here, Kevin. In order to cover all of this, I talked about cord cutting. I was unable to do this because wrestling is so massive and so extensive right now that you need all these channels. You can't cord cut because wrestling has never been more accessible. And I think it's a beautiful time to be a wrestling fan.
Yeah. People asking, where can you watch AEW Dynamite? Legally, of course.
well, first of all, on TNT. Duh.
And there's other ways. If you're just you don't have cable and you want to watch it.
There's the Watch TNT app. There's a bunch of cord cutting options. There's Sling. There's BR Live. There's Fight TV. If you use if you get around to it where you can put an international thing on your computer, you can get it through Fight TV. You can get it through all these things. And they're going to have AEW Dark on YouTube. TBS is going to get a show.
Yeah, it was just an show. So you get extra matches every week on TV, on that they'll tape at television, but they'll only be on the internet.
The rumor and innuendo has it that TBS is getting a wrestling show again.
It would be AEW.
It would be AEW. And I mean, NWA Power, I haven't even gotten to talk to you about that. What a wild ride that is. If you look at the spoilers, you'll see some crazy stuff happening at NWA tapings. What can't you say about wrestling right now? It's massive.
Des Asworth with an interesting question here. Could the fact that WWE has more than one product, I think you mean more than one show, make something that makes it harder to compete with them from a ratings standpoint? Yeah. I mean, if you want to be subjective about it, AEW won Wednesday, but it's not like NXT was like blown out of the water, and all of their audience was gone. It's just AEW is a clear-cut winner, and this is the first time anyone's done that in a long, long time. And AEW had put on a strong show. They didn't throw everything in the kitchen sink, but NXT did. They had 3 title matches on television, and you felt like you were getting a pay-per-view here.
I mean, AEW threw as much as they could at you.
They have to save some things for pay-per-view, and they're building up to it.
They crowned Riho as the first women's champion. They're gonna get knee-deep into the tag team tournament very soon. I'll admit.
If you're a fan of AEW, we have a bunch of Media Scrum interviews, been watched by thousands of people. If you're watching us on Facebook, go to our Facebook videos. Tony Khan spoke for 30 minutes to the media after this show on TV. We also have Nyla Rose, a very, very funny interview with MJF, who was not happy about what happened on Dynamite as well. And then on top of that, we're following the situation out of the New York Comic Con where Jericho and Cody Rhodes got into it at the AEW panel.
That was good move.
At each other. That was just yesterday. Crazy day. AEW stayed in the news on Friday, even though WWE took Friday. If you want to go day to day in terms of who got the most attention, and WWE took Friday. They sold out Staples Center. They had 4 million people watch them. They had the most viewed television wrestling show of the week by a significant margin. And Raw had a rating peak too. Raw did 3.1 this week. So overall, great week for wrestling. The winners are you and me, and all this.
All right. Okay. Well, that is a very accurate and honest statement. I'm getting a little like, all right, you can spare me with the fans are the winners when the companies are like, but the fans are winning. No.
Are you talking about WWE's statement after they?
Yeah, like say that. Don't even say that you lost. What the hell are you coming out with a statement for? Just
because they have to. They're a publicly traded company. They have to address it.
Just say we're going to get on our horse. You don't need to address it publicly. Just use it as fuel to do better.
BS. You don't have to address it publicly. BS.
No, I don't.
No. We are getting into it today, DeFelice. All right. So here's the thing. BS. WWE put out that statement on Thursday, congratulating AEW on the debut, and that you guys going head to head did really well. And this is the big line that everyone felt was like a backhanded thing, like, hey, we're coming at you, was this is not a one-night sprint. This is a marathon. Yep. That is 100% true. There's nothing wrong with that. I thought it was classy, but it was still like, bring it on, mother effer. Like, bring it on. And guess what? What's the difference between what they're saying and what AEW's been doing, building their entire brand on we're not WWE. We're not WWE. We're this. We're different. We're new. We're fresh. We're the hip new thing. We're not like the only word in AEW's marketing that you don't hear that sounds the loudest is what?
Wrestling.
We're not WWE. We're pro wrestling. They're sports entertainment.
Blood and guts.
Well, blood and guts and all that stuff. And it was a legitimate competition once Vince McMahon addressed them and addressed them in a business call. It was open. It was out there. And prior to that, I was like, I was going to see. And kudos to them, dude. They put on a great show. It felt different. It looked different. I thought they had really great premier characters. They built this looks like a faction around Chris Jericho, their champion. They have Jake Hager, which was impressive. And they had impressive matches the whole night. Even in defeat, the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega looked great. You got a great grudge with Omega and Moxley smashing through their table. There's a lot of great things going on with them. But I didn't think the statement from WWE was that. I mean, obviously, everyone's going to be like, oh, they took a knee. They were humbled. And they did it because they were embarrassed. And maybe they were embarrassed. And they said,
was this pre-ratings or after the ratings?
What?
Was this before or after the ratings came out?
It's unclear. It's unclear when that statement came out in terms of the ratings. I would assume they got to see the ratings before they came out publicly.
And said that. So maybe it was a case of them trying to, all right, they're going to bother us. They're going to needle us. Let's get.
But look at the coup that AEW got on this. Deadline, Variety, every big media outlet that's not a wrestling one covered this story. ESPN talked about it. You're like a lot of mainstream press for look at the impressive debut of AEW.
Yes. And if we're obviously not affiliated with them, but great source, Pro Wrestling Torch. If you want to hear more about AEW, I really advise everybody to listen to the 2.5-hour interview Tony Khan did with Wade Keller, where you learn a lot of insight as to what their game plan is and why they're not WWE and how they're going to be different from WWE. No invisible camera, which I think is a very important thing in the wrestling show. You know how you see the heels plotting and backstage, and it's like, well, we see you, and if anybody has a monitor, they can see you. Why is this a surprise? But, you know, I really am looking forward to sitting down at some point tonight and watching Dynamite and seeing what the future of wrestling has to offer.
Yeah, it's just in terms of, you bring that up, in terms of the way WWE's being shot and stuff like that. The Fox show was almost all ring-centric. There was very little stuff backstage.
And then what I saw backstage was legit. It was Kayla Braxton, like, all right.
Aaron Andrews from Fox Sports was utilized in the show. I thought that was a good call as well.
You think we'll see more of that? You think we'll see more Fox people?
I think you'll see more of the Fox Sports personalities integrated. I wouldn't be surprised if you have Terry Bradshaw on a panel at some point. You're going to see a lot more of that. And they made WWE feel like it's an integrated product, like no different than the NFL, no different than any of these other shows they had. That blue carpet rollout they had all the Fox broadcast personalities there. They had one of the Masked Singer characters come out.
Marshmallow won the 24/7 title, which was wild. That happened on social media, and if you're following it, that was fun. Marshmallow won the belt. I would like to see some Family Guy cutaways in the middle of SmackDown, because I think R-Truth and talent like that can get away with it. You know, it's a very fun partnership, and it's a very exciting time to be a fan. And we're not done yet, Kevin. We've got Hell in a Cell in less than 24 hours.
Let's quickly address Hell in a Cell. 3 matches advertised for this show. What do you think?
4 now. They did confirm Charlotte versus Bayley. They confirmed
that. So what's the selling point for you?
As cheeky as it sounds, it's in the name. I think the selling point here is just, hey guys, we're getting Hell in a Cell matches, and you know that the Fiend is a big character, and the Fiend is going to be a huge selling point. I think anything where he doesn't walk away with the title is a mistake, because they've built up this almost infallible character right now, and even a no contest would be kind of shitty. So
I just don't see Seth losing the title. I know I've been saying it for weeks. I don't know why the Fiend, a character who is elusive, you don't see him in the ring every week. It would be bad if you saw him in the ring every week, and he's your champion.
I agree.
So then you're getting to the same problem you're going to have with Brock Lesnar, which is going to be an issue.
But
I think you're going to see Brock on TV every week now, or at least see him on TV.
I think you're going to see him on TV more. I do too. And I think the Fiend, through the Funhouse stuff, even though it will get old quick, can be on TV every week without being in the ring every week.
Well, what do you think here? I mean, are you going to upset fans if you do a non-finish here?
Yeah. I think wrestling fans, and again, not to draw back on the Tony Khan interview, but he talks about non-finishes upset fans, and I think in a case like this, especially after the last Hell in a Cell had a massive non-finish, I think you need to pull the trigger here. If you put the Fiend in this position, you should have put him in this position saying, all right, we're going to go. And I think the key element here is Becky Lynch. Not so much Seth Rollins, but that is Seth Rollins' fiance. And I think Fox wants Becky. And I think Fox gets Becky. And I think if Fox gets Becky, they're getting Seth.
Oh, that's interesting. But then you have a lot of the same pairings then. If you have Seth, he's going to go after Brock for the title.
You know, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that pairing has proven well. I don't
know. They've done it enough. But so it's a non-finish. It'll upset fans. But can they have just a spectacle of a match? You can't just have Bray Wyatt in a cell and not do something fantastical. You know, every time they've had him in there, they've done his match with Roman Reigns in the cell. It was a great match, even though Roman Reigns won it. They had that match of the night, that pay-per-view they did.
Last time they tried to do something spectacular with Wyatt in the ring.
Yes.
I draw back to
they did the hologram with Dean Ambrose. They're going to do something wild, crazy with this. They're going to do something wild. And I think in that, even with a non-finish, if they have some spectacle, they have some gaga, whatever it may be, you know, and I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying you have the Fiend. He's a character who's built for something insane, right? He has puppets with him. I think you're going to see something like that. I don't know what it is, but I just feel it.
I think you're gonna see. Remember not the holograms, but like the flashing images during the WrestleMania match with Randy Orton. I think you'll see stuff like that.
Yeah,
and maybe a little bit more playfulness with the cage. You can have the cage turn into a massive funhouse. Why can't we do that? Middle of the match, lights go out, and all of a sudden, lights come on, and like the puppets are in the ring. You can.
How do you do the puppets in the ring? You have to. Do they come out of the apron? Like,
you have them like in the corner. You cut little slits into the corner and you just stick them up there. And I think you can have fun with it. You can have characters. And that's the thing is the Fiend is a massive character. And for whatever ungodly reason, they seem to want to be very character driven on Monday Night Raw right now. I don't know what that thing was with Lashley. Eventually, we're gonna have to talk about that. But that was bizarre. And I think that's where we're going right now, guys. Raw is not the Ace show. Let's after watching this week, I think I can safely say Raw is not the top brand. The top brand is SmackDown, and Raw is gonna be a little experimental right now.
James is sponsored from the Tagahol.
I haven't heard that in 2 weeks.
Yeah, you missed it. It says, Big Kev, Robert, what do you think if Bray loses clean tomorrow night at Hell in a Cell?
Well, then I will take the role of the angry smark on the internet and say you might as well just come out and drop your pants and take crap right on his chest, because there's no reason that needs to happen in any way. Bray Wyatt does not need to lose clean.
Way to paint an image there, Robert.
Yeah, I mean, let's get in there. If he loses clean, you're dropping the ball.
I don't want to get into what you just described.
No, I'm just saying, it's not a good move. It is a no good, very bad, very awful move to have.
Robert DeFelice is with us, everybody. Robert DeFelice.
Oh God.
Robert DeFelice.
Yeah. So that's what I think. I think it'll be a whole load of fecal matter if the Fiend loses clean.
I mean, in terms of just a crazy week, you got to admit there was bigger masters to serve this week for WWE. A new Raw reboot, new SmackDown reboot, WWE getting NXT up against AEW, and then this pay-per-view is kind of there. So it's odd that you have all those things going on, and you only have like a handful of matches announced for it. We are going to get Becky versus Sasha inside the Hell in a Cell. Do you think they have a better cell match than Bray and Rollins?
Absolutely. I think if this is done right, this could be match of the year.
Oh, what makes you think that?
These two girls are legitimately the best in the business, in my opinion. And I think nobody can touch them when they're motivated, and they're very motivated right now.
I think you're right. And I think there'll be some venom. I think Sasha, this will be her. They had the match at SummerSlam, and it was a good match, but people didn't like the non-finish, right? And a non-finish leads to a big cell match like this. So that's logical. But I would say for this, I got to think that you're going to have Becky win, and it's going to upset that huge, very surly audience set that Sasha has online.
Sasha stands, let's get into this, are a very wild bunch. But You know what? I think she's winning because I think, like I said, the Fox wants Becky Lynch, and I think they're getting Becky Lynch.
Definitely. What other matches am I thinking of? Because we only have the three that are. Oh,
sure.
The
tag team match between Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan against the guy who tried to kill him. And what a way to get to a tag match. What a way to say, my friend is going to stand in the corner and your friend is going to stand in the corner because I tried to hit you with a car. Like, this is where wrestling gets hokey in a fun way because, my God, Eric Rowan is a massive man and could probably...
He's gotten over in all of this. He's gotten over as a monster in all of this.
It's crazy. And I think I never would have expected that Harper would be the guy who's just there because he can go almost better than anybody, but he is over. I am going to go with my instinct right now and say Daniel Bryan's not a babyface. It turns on Roman, and he was actually the guy behind
I haven't felt the complete turn back to supporting the fans that Daniel Bryan could do here. Curious statements from him this week saying that he thinks his retirement will happen for him sooner than later. But definitely, I would think it'd be interesting if Daniel Bryan continues to be a babyface. But I do think for you, there is a little bit of a predictability here if Daniel Bryan leads the Bludgeon Brothers and kind of has a faction with them. Yeah, I don't know what you think, bro.
You know, I gotta tell you, Kevin, I'm sorry, I was reading the comments here. I was reading the comments here, and Noah said this thing that he likes our show, that the Vince Russo's podcast sucks. And bro, I don't even know where you're coming from with this nonsense, this Fugazi nonsense that this podcast with these two marks talking to microphones is better than my podcast. Bro, let me tell you, I created the Attitude Era, bro. You don't even understand. This thing that Fox thinks they want, I created it. Fox only wants my creation. They just couldn't pay me enough to be a consultant. You just, bro, you don't understand,
bro.
These characters, I created them. The Fiend. I thought of the Fiend 10 years ago for Cain. You don't know that. But I thought about that. You don't know because you're not gonna ever hear the full story from these marks. But I thought of that 10 years ago, and I'm telling you, my podcast is the best thing going, bro.
Vince, while we have you here, are you involved in this Rusev cuckolding Bobby Lashley Lana love triangle?
All right. Well, first of all, bro, what you gotta understand is that Lana, smoking hot, smoking.
You have to understand that. It's a very, very key point that she is hot, right? She's a hot, attractive lady.
Smoking freaking hot.
Okay. Understood.
Like Sable with just one notch down. You know what I'm saying? And I said to myself, bring
it back into reference. You had to bring it back into reference of the time that he was booking Kegel.
You know what I said? I said, Sable's married to Brock Lesnar. You know, we should put this friggin' hot blonde with an MMA guy. And I looked to my left and I said, my God, Lashley. The size of Bobby Lashley, bro. I'm telling you, he's like nothing you've ever seen. I can't get into it here, but Lashley is a freaking animal. And I said, my God, Lana, Lashley, Lana. It's like a thing, and it's gonna be a thing, and it's gonna be the greatest thing that you've ever seen on Monday Night Television. Because, bro, I gotta tell you, cuckolding works. I mean, Kevin, you're gonna tell me if you were the guy the size of friggin' Lashley,
yeah,
and you see a smoking hot blonde like Lana, that you're not gonna say it's not Rusev. Rusev Day doesn't even exist. It's Lashley Day all day and night because Lashley is a friggin' machine.
Okay, understood. He's a freaking machine. Can I speak to Robert again? Glasses on. It's like Clark Kent, but in reverse. There we go.
Kevin, what happened there?
Robert, it wasn't a plan to have you. It wasn't a plan to have you back on the show. Get those glasses right. It wasn't a plan to have you back on the show this week, but it's great to have you back. I know big moving week. We got you settled back in here. What are you busy with this week? Moving ahead. Hell in a Cell. Big show. Right?
I'm busy with the whole freaking wrestling media world. I work for like 20 websites. I think they're doing Fightful this weekend for Hell in a Cell. They're doing E-Wrestling News from Monday through Thursday. And then I'll be right here in the zone covering NXT and doing the War of the Wednesdays podcast. Are we still calling it that, Kevin?
Yes, we actually have a new name for it. It is called our post show on Wednesdays, following AEW, following WWE NXT, will now be called Wednesday Night War Zone. The War Zone, because we're Wrestlezone.
It's called the War Zone.
Yes. Suggested by a listener, Anna Williams.
I see. And this is after Wrestlezone is War, correct? This is like an hour later, so we can say whatever we want.
Yes,
So
we can say whatever we want.
Great. Okay. So I'll be in the war zone apparently because it's 97 somewhere. I'll be in the war zone with you after covering the NXT side of the war. I assume you'll be watching AEW, and then I'll be ready.
We'll switch. How about we switch week to week? We do that. We'll switch week to week.
I would, but Boss Man Bill says I'm covering NXT, so no.
All right, so you cover NXT, I cover AEW. Is that what we do now?
That's what we're doing now. And you know what? I still think NXT is the best cohesive show on television.
Okay.
And we'll see how it goes week to week.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. It'll be interesting as this war goes on. Hell in a Cell is a slightly more interesting show than it was a week ago, just based on the WWE television. But it's interesting the fact that they don't have a bunch of angles to pay off on it. But I'm interested in checking out the show Sunday into Monday. I don't see myself watching it live outside of the main event. I have a ton of different things.
Last year at Hell in a Cell, I remember you had a comedy gig, and I had to send you the gruesome image of Randy Orton taking a screwdriver to...
Oh, you know what? That's a match I may watch tomorrow afternoon. Yeah. I love that match. I thought that Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton really just beat the snot out of each other, and Randy Orton had the wrench in the ear, and also a sad situation with Jeff Hardy and a recent arrest.
Yeah, it is an ongoing battle. Let's just leave it at that with Jeff.
We'll leave it at that. And we root for Jeff and his family and everyone else involved. And but it is an unfortunate situation. We are following it at Wrestlezone.com. The best of wishes, the best of health to Jeff and everybody there in the Hardy clan. Rough time to say the least. We will be back on Monday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern with WrestleZone Daily. We will have the Raw post show. Then we'll do that Wednesday at Warzone show after AEW and NXT. And then Monday through Thursday, though, we'll still have that. So we'll have tons of audio for you. If you're with us on the podcast side, rate, review, and subscribe. Rate, review, and subscribe. Let me say it again. Let's get the show over to 5 stars. Can you do that? 5-star review. Let's make that our average. And then if you're here with us,
if you're Japanese.
You can go up to 7? Oh, it's because it happened in Japan. It's a 7.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yes, they have more stars than we. And then if you're with us on the Facebook side, rate, review the show. The best way you can rate is hit those like buttons when you like something on the show and share the show in your wrestling fan groups, all that good stuff. We're hoping to expand the show on YouTube. I know we've been talking about it for a long, long time, but hopefully at some point we can simulcast and be on.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen. I don't know when, though. Steve Perosi says, I'm late to the convo. Don't worry, dude. Download the podcast. Podcast's going to be up soon, and we'll have all that stuff for you guys as well. Thank you so much for supporting the show. This has been our SmackDown post show, our Hell in a Cell preview, which wasn't planned, but it came together live on air, which is the way we kind of do it. F it, we'll do it live.
We'll do it live. We're doing it live, baby.
For everything wrestling, you go to WrestleZone.com. Robert, tell them what they got to do.
Enjoy wrestling.
Darn right. That's what you got.